New year, new you, or so they say. But here at Casper Core, we can actually make that happen for you. For a limited time, our revolutionary brain cleansing treatment is getting a little zhuzh. We can pluck out all the personality traits you don't want to bring into the new year and polish up the ones you do. Cringy conversations you'd rather forget? Done. Embarrassing gaffes that hit you when you're about to fall asleep? Erased. All the core benefits of a deep brain cleansing with a little extra to help you reach the person you want to be this year. Remember, this is a limited time offer. Stop in at Casper Core for an extra deep brain cleansing today. So let's see, what are we keeping for you? And what are we getting rid of? Okay. Was there anything on here that you wanted to tweak at all? Any personality traits or memories that maybe you would like to keep or things you would like to get rid of? Okay, it's all here then. All right, so to start your extra deep brain cleansing, we're gonna have to do a little digging and figure out where exactly in the brain we can find those little bits. So this might be a little uncomfortable because I'm going to be poking around, but it shouldn't be painful. I'm just going to use a little light and we're going to take a peek, okay? So just go ahead and take a deep breath in real quick and out. There we go. Okay. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, right off the bat. Okay, well, that's gonna be a little easier location-wise. You've got quite a bit of things going on here. I can see why you would want to get rid of some of these things and definitely cultivate the others. Right off the bat, actually, let's see if I can. That little bit right there. Okay, yeah, that was pretty obvious. But what about there? There we go. Okay, so there's a little bit kind of everywhere. We tend to stay in the cerebrum. So you have your frontal lobe right here, your parietal right up here, and the temporal lobes on the side. Cerebellum and brainstem are going to be way back here. And we don't really need to work with those. We're mostly going to stay right up top. There's another little bit. So you shouldn't be too difficult to work with. There we go. It's just going to be kind of a lot. So since we've already kind of located what we're going for, we're going to start with a little dry exfoliation. Let's see what I've got. Maybe some of these. And perhaps I do like working with these. Yeah. That'll be nice. So, just grab my little towel here. And there we go. We'll just keep that right there. So I think we're going to go macro and settle more into micro. These little rubber nubbins here, these are going to be excellent to do just a little gentle surfacing. And this helps break some of the attachments of things that you don't want to keep, but polishes the little bits that you do. Okay. Let's start here in the frontal lobe. And this stage right here, this is going to be, it's going to polish everything, and then when we get a little more pointed, that's where we can get into the traits that you are not crazy about, and we can just start lifting those attachments. That's going to need some detail work, but we're already getting, you see these little bits here. Ooh. Yeah. That's what we're looking at cleaning up. Good. There we are. Have you had a deep brain cleansing before? Okay, that's what I thought. That's what it looked like. But I thought I would just ask. It doesn't really matter either way. Just more of sometimes you can catch on to specific characteristics that tell you one way or another. Really want to get into this temporal lobe is rife with those traits that we need to get rid of. Alright, that's kind of our polish there. And then we have a little tool that, see, a little tool that really gets in there. We can use this little edge or the finer edge. There we are. A little difficult to get into the folds of the brain. You have gyri and sulci, and this gets in much better. this is just preliminary work. I mean, we haven't even done the pre-wash. Good. So, do you have kind of an idea of your goals, of the person you want to be by the end of the year? You don't have to tell me, I just more ask. Because Casper Core, we have a lot of different products, services that can help you achieve any goal or any sort of if there's a specific way you want to be, or you know what limitations are holding you back, then this is the place that can help you out with that. I see a little bit right in the big fissure here. There we go. I'll have to clean that up with the washes. Good. Get right in between there. Okay. So we're going to do a pre-wash and a rinse. I'm going to need this guy. We don't need a whole lot. Let's see. We're just going to work that in. So this is an oil that turns into a balm when water's added. I just really want to get all that. Really, I'm just doing this kind of motion to get that all worked in. Okay, let's do a little bit of mist. Oh, got a little bit on you there. There. Good. A little bit of mist so that controls the amount of water that we introduce. Okay, that's looking really good. Let's get maybe just a bit more, but we'll add water to start. So we've got our oil. Water. It turns into something else. So this pre-wash, it serves to get all those bits that we exfoliated. A lot of times, those little particles clump up in response to the oil. And then when we introduce the water, that causes the particles to break down so that they don't stick to the brain. A bit more, let's do it directly on the brush. As you can see, it's turned into that balm consistency. There we go. Really working that in. Okay. So now with the pre-rinse here, I'm going to hold this over your face. We're going to just very gently and then I'll use this towel for us, but this towel here, this is going to be used to get some of that excess moisture out of there. We don't need it to be dry. We just need to wash away enough of the cleansing balm that it doesn't interfere with our other products. There. That's for cleaning. This is for general maintenance here. So let's go ahead and just get in there and pluck out any little bits that the wash didn't get, so I can use my tweezers to sort of scrape up some of the bits here. And take away what we can. See, that's a lot. We just use the tweezers to get into the folds. Pull out what we can. still comfortable enough? Okay, good. You really shouldn't feel any of this, but some people kind of get a pressure sensation. And that can be a little odd feeling. So why don't we go ahead and start using our proprietary formula of brainwash. Just got to make sure the wash is intact. And then, let's see, I think we'll just use this guy. Start working it in. It smells nice, doesn't it? Quite clean smelling. Good smell for a nice clean start. Is that everything? Let's get just a little bit more for the road. Over there. Okay, now with this, we can make sure everything has at least a little bit of brainwash. That's a bit of a mess. I'll just keep that right there. And then I'm going to roll up my sleeves and we're going to really get in there. Let's see, I think that'll be a good tool. Okay. Spread that around. We're not going to be doing any deep cleaning with just these little mitts. This is just to make sure that everything is worked into the correct consistency. See how the bubbles are much smaller? That's what we want. The smaller the bubbles get, the more the brainwash has broken down any debris. So got the consistency we want. Use this tool to really work that into the folds. It's not very deep, but it's much easier than using my fingers. We're going to work this just into every surface we can. Good. And with how flexible the little spatula is, I can really follow the contours of the folds of the brain. About over here. And in these little areas. Okay. About right through here. Good, right in that longitudinal fissure here. There's a bit more room to work, so that I can really get in there. Okay. Let's wipe that off. And let's add a bit more. So these bubbles have gone very small. So we need a little bit extra. Keep going. There we are. Okay. Now, our scrubbies. You just rinse these off. Good. There we are. The size of the bubbles there. They're still working quite a bit. Now we're getting more into the deep clean stage. see what other tricks we've got. Can we bring in this little guy again? Water helps keep the active ingredients active. Getting a nice scrub in there. Starting to get that little squeaky sound that tells us that we're getting a lot closer to the final result. There, right there. Which means that we've gotten to fresh surface of the brain. So the areas that we kept, those are all polished up, and everything we didn't want, we've already gotten rid of. There, that little bit. Let me see if I can remove some of the wash so we can get a good look at what we've got going on. Just little bits, just need enough so I can see the surface underneath. Maybe right in here. A little bit. A little bit more. Good. And this will help for when we rinse as well. Just removing a lot of the suds. Just makes for an easier cleanup. Okay, I think that is enough for me to see if we've got everything taken care of. Let's just take a peek here. Yeah, so I'm going to take off a good amount. And then we're going to do a little personality polish. So let's just go ahead and wipe off what we can. not to offend, but you had some rough stuff going on before we got to work. This is going quite well. Let me just flip over my washcloth here so I can get a better side. There. Just getting a lot of that brainwash. Soaking it up. Perfect. So, personality polish. Use this cleaner cloth for it. What I'm gonna do, this is a good job for just this guy, but we're just going to go around and polish. This also helps pick up some of the remnants of the brainwash. We can just flip that over. And so we are using a mechanical action to polish. And this just helps polish the edges of your personality traits. There we are. This gets into the nooks and crannies. Okay. And then that naturally also gets rid of the rest of the brainwash. Everything is quite clean. Let me just get this a little bit more. Right in here. This little edge. There we go. So now we just have to seal everything and protect it. Since we did a lot of exfoliating and removal, there are some, well, it's almost like when you peel a sunburn, you have that fresh new skin that's a little sensitive, that needs some extra moisture because it's easier to lose moisture. That's what we're going to do. We're going to seal and protect the brain tissue so that it doesn't lose moisture, so that it stays supple. Alright. Okay, so let's go ahead and just get our protectant, which is there. Don't need a whole lot, and it's actually really thin in consistency. I'm just going to dot this around. little bit. And this is going to be more gentle. And I'm just going to use my fingers for this. It already feels just so much nicer with that little bit of protectant. The tissue is shinier. It looks much more hydrated. I think that this will feel quite nice, really. We're just getting everywhere we can. And we're just going to keep going until I don't feel any more residue on my fingers, which we are getting there. And I don't feel any more residue in your brain. Just run my fingers over and make sure we got everything well moisturized. Yeah, that feels great. There's not anything left on my fingers. Okay, let's take a peek. Just make sure. Oh, look at that. That looks a lot nicer. Everything's nice and smooth. Tissue is well hydrated. A little more vibrant in color. Yeah, no, that looks beautiful. I think that's some of my finest work. Really. Excellent. Okay. So that is your extra deep brain cleansing. Now, here are a couple things you want to just keep in mind. I'm gonna just put your head back where it needs to be. So if you could just take a deep breath and out. Okay. So now that's all sealed back up. So because we messed with your personality and memories, for a few days you might need a little bit of acclimatizing because there will be gaps in your memory. That's going to feel a little odd. There are going to be reactions that your brain pathways naturally go to that maybe are changed now. So it's going to go towards that, and then you might get a little confused and not know how to react. So we do offer a follow-up treatment if this is an issue, in which we rewrite pathways, and we also can patch those memories so it doesn't feel so much like a gap. It just feels more like there's something empty there. Like, as opposed to a hole in the ground, there's an empty field. So that makes it a lot easier to transition. So, do you have any questions for me at all? Okay. I would recommend a deep rest after that. That gives your brain some time to fill in the gaps a bit and just get used to the new structuring and pathways, right? Okay. It was an absolute pleasure working with you today. Thank you so much for coming to Casper Core for your extra deep brain cleansing. We really appreciate having you here. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon, without which I wouldn't be able to make these videos. If you'd like to help support the channel, there's a link to my Patreon in the description box below. I offer perks like early access to videos, ad-free access to videos, audio downloads of all my content, thank you for being here. Hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night.